Hello, hello. Welcome back to our little homestead and our 100 days of homesteading. My name is Chrissy. If you are new here, welcome. And if you're not, thanks for coming back. Welcome. Today is Monday morning and we're all feeling a little seedy because we had a huge weekend with it was the Mother's Day weekend, but we also had a wedding and we had graduation and we had just a lot of things going on. It was wonderful. It was a great weekend, beautiful weekend of celebrating and lots of being away from the farm. So things got a little left here. Got the farm chores done, but that was about it. And one thing I have noticed as I walked around this morning is that we had a lot of rain on the weekend, and a lot of rain, a lot of warmth. And so the plants are growing like crazy and so are the weeds. So we're going to try and get on top of that. Okay, we're out here at the row garden and we're just going to power through some weeding. The kids have one row each. The two littles are sharing this end row. And we're just going to power through and try and pull up some weeds because there's a lot, as you can see, coming up in the rows. But it's really easy weeding because it's loose soil, it's all mulched, so they're pretty easy just to pull straight out. So hopefully it won't take us too long. I don't know if you can tell, but that is pretty cool. There's a lot less weeds there. We've got one more row, this row here right next to the potatoes, that is going to be done in a little bit by one of the boys who hasn't got to that yet, doing other things. But these three rows, 1, 2, 3, are done. I did a little bit over there and I weeded the potatoes. So that feels good. Feels good to have that done. It's actually been really peaceful and lovely. It's not too hot. It's only, I think it's getting to 79 today. So it's pretty mild and cool. And the birds are all singing and we could hear a woodpecker over there in the forest. It's just nice. It's a nice way to sort of recover from a busy weekend. Just quietly weeding and listening in the garden. Okay, so Zach went down the paddock for me, down past the pasture into the forest, and there's a lot of sweet gums, like young sweet gum saplings. And I just asked him to go cut some saplings down, and he's cut them in half to help form a trellis. So I have cattle panels. I have 3 cattle panels, and I have a few steel posts that I think I can salvage from around the farm, and that will do 1 row. I think that will be enough for 1 row, and I will use that for tomatoes to grow on. But I really need more than 1 row of trellising because I do want to, I've had a couple of ideas because I don't want to purchase any more trellising, and that's just not where I want to put money. So I'm trying to think of ways to get around that. Now obviously our existing fences can act as trellising, and we did that last year quite effectively. So a couple of ideas. One is we have these just little saplings that are cut into shorter pieces, and I can make a tripod, like a teepee kind of, not a tripod, a teepee with those. And I did that last year. You can maybe see one still there, my cucumbers to grow up. I actually used 4 together and tied them at the top. I can just use binder twine or something to tie them off, and So the other plants that I have to put, that I was planning to put in this row garden that needs some form of trellising, is I had green beans, there's the tomatoes, and I want to put cowpeas in again. I also need to put some okra. So one idea I had, which I actually heard from Jess at Roots and Refuge, is I think she's planning to put okra on an outside row with cowpeas under it, and they might grow up in it, they might spread out. But I may try that in that end row. The other thought is to use these and make the little teepees and put them down the row, and plants can grow up them. The other thought that occurred to me, which just because of the abundance of seeds that I had and starts that I had with tomatoes, I probably have enough that I could do an entire row of Roma tomatoes, which are a determinate variety and therefore don't require staking. And one of the things I really wanted to do was try canning tomatoes this year, if I can get enough. Last year I did not get enough tomatoes to do that. And from my understanding, Roma tomatoes are good for that because they have less seeds and they're not as juicy. So I could do one row of tomatoes that is on the trellis, and then a second row that's just Romas because they won't require it. And I could also, following that same thinking, I could use bush beans on a row if I don't have enough trellising to do the climbing beans. So I have quite a few bush bean seeds, so that's another thought. So I think the idea will be to see how many I can make with this, see how far the cattle panels go, and then make a decision from there. Okay, there's a bit more weeding I could do down here. Okay, I'm just going to potter here and weed. It has been a really emotionally draining, intense weekend, and really honestly the lead up to it as well, just as Jared's graduating. In some ways it kind of snuck up on me because Jared isn't our eldest. We have a 20-year-old as well who is in Australia, and so I kind of was thinking, oh, this will be all right. And it has not been anywhere near as difficult as it was to say goodbye to Isaiah, our eldest, and put him on a plane and watch him fly over the Pacific Ocean. That was definitely harder than this has been. But it's still been really emotionally exhausting. And I don't think I really realized how much that was affecting me until halfway through his graduation. So until we got there really. So he has been homeschooled his entire life. I have taught him at home, and he, since coming here, has had the opportunity to I guess work with a local private school. Now, he hasn't done any of his schooling through this school, but he's been able to play basketball with them, and they are very cooperative and friendly with homeschool families and allow homeschool graduates to go through the graduation process with their graduates. It's a really cool experience. It was a lot of fun for Jared and a lot of just a new opportunity for him. So it was great to be able to have that opportunity and to do that. Now, what I didn't know, I had no idea that as part of the ceremony, they get, there's a few speeches that some of the students do, and they had asked Jared to do the, I guess it's like just a short speech and thanking the parents and thanking parents and caregivers and the people who have been there to help them through their schooling. And I didn't suspect that Jared would be doing any kind of speech because he was participating along with them, but he didn't attend the school there. Anyway, they had asked Jared to do this speech, and he got it. The MC said something about the upcoming speeches and mentioned Jared's name, and I was like, oh no, they've messed up the MC's made an error, or there's an error on the printout that he's reading from, because Jared's not doing a speech. Anyway, he had secretly kept it a secret and a surprise that he was doing this speech. And he did such an amazing job. And I really, until I was sitting there listening to our son give this speech, and it just suddenly hit me that I have been holding all of these sort of apprehensions and doubts and fears of like, is he ready? Have I done my job properly as his teacher? Have I equipped him? Is he ready to go out into the world and start the next thing? And so I'm sitting here trying to absorb everything that he is saying in this speech, that he has obviously put a lot of thought and effort into, and it just hit me, oh my goodness, he is so ready. Not because he can pass some age-appropriate academic test, not because he's got the piece of paper that says diploma, or in Australia we'd call it a grade 12 certificate, none of that, but because as I'm sitting there listening to him, I realize he has learnt to think for himself. He has somehow learnt, caught, grasped a love of learning, and he has a hunger to grow and learn. And he's gone and we've never done speech. We've never done, we were in a co-op in Australia, and he participated, in a little Shakespeare play. That was years ago. He's had a few little things like that, but I've never taught him how to write a speech, or how to, but he wanted to do it. And so he went out and figured it out and learned how to do it. So he's learned how to think, and he's learned to care. And that was so evident in this speech that he gave. And at the end of the day, why do we educate? What is the purpose of an education? What is a full-rounded education? And to me, it's not about academic tests. It's not about reaching a certain level of theoretical knowledge. It's about the formation of a person, and whether or not that person, not how much they know, but how much do they care. And that is almost a direct quote from Charlotte Mason, who is a very big influence on my education philosophy. We don't strictly follow a Charlotte Mason everything, but I've read a lot of her things, and I would say it's a big influence. And I really do think you have to look at education as, why am I doing this? What is the end result I'm wanting? And then kind of work your way back from there. That's how I've approached it. And it doesn't matter if he doesn't know calculus. He might not never need it. It doesn't matter if he hasn't, mastered any particular thing you might want to choose to say, the periodic table or whatever. What matters is that he knows how to learn, he has a love of learning, and he's learned to care. He's got a long way to go, and as all of us do, right? Like, I'm still learning, and I'm in my 40s. I don't think you ever stop learning. I don't think you ever stop growing, and if you do, that's really sad. It's really just the beginning. Schooling is just the beginning. And so I just felt so kind of overwhelmed with, and I didn't realize I was holding that apprehension and that doubt and that fear inside. It wasn't because there were problems with Jared's schooling. I think the apprehension and the fears that I was harboring I think it was just the self-doubt of thinking that, well, this whole education of this child is on my shoulders, when really that is such a lie. Because yes, I have a huge responsibility because I've taken on the role of educating my children, that I do need to take that very seriously, and I do. And there are certain things I need to make sure that we have equipped them with. But at the end of the day, I can never teach him everything he's ever going to need to know. And I can never give him everything he needs. I just need to equip him with the ability to find and know that he can go find that knowledge. When it comes to it, he might never need to know some things, like calculus or the periodic table, but there are certain things that if he finds out, okay, I'm going to need this knowledge, this information, then I know right now he is very equipped to go and find it and chase it and dig for it until he learns. All that to say, there's probably homeschool parents watching, and people that have their kids in school, and people that aren't, not in that stage anymore. But I just want to encourage you, if you do happen to be in that space that I have been in, of homeschooling my children, it is very easy to get wrapped up in doubt and fear. And at the end of the day, we need, there's great peace in knowing that it's really not all on your shoulders, and it's a lot simpler than what you think it is. I think it's worth considering what our goals are when we educate, whether we're educating ourselves at home with homeschooling or whether we're sending them to a school. What are our goals? What is the purpose of education? I think a lot of times we don't even think about that. I think a lot of times it's just going through the motions. Oh, we go to school, that's what we do. Or we do school at home, that's what we do. But why? The things we need in life will always, learning how to read, that's important. Learning how to deal with numbers, that's important. But it's not the most important, I don't think, when we think about the value of a human life and the formation of character and the formation of a person as a whole. Because the truth is, you can learn to read and write at any age. And please don't misunderstand me. I think those things are really important, and we do that in our homeschool. But it just really struck me on the weekend, like, wow, here we are. He's launching, and he doesn't know everything for sure, like not even close. But I do think he's ready. If you can give your children the ability to think for themselves, and you read widely enough that they have been exposed to a wide variety of ideas and information, and not just information for the sake of it, learnt to converse and discuss ideas and not be too inwardly focused on what they think, but learning about the world around them, they will be fine. They will be well equipped. So I still look at him, and I see this tiny little guy. He was really small. He's tall now, but he was always quite small, and always so cheerful and helpful, and just the sweetest little boy. And now he's like towers over the top of me, and he's launching out into the world, the world before him, and who knows what he'll do and where he'll go. So many emotions, so many emotions. But at the end of the day, a lot of joy and hope and peace. So proud of him. He did a great job with that speech, even though he shocked the pants off of us. We did not know. And then we had to go up on stage, which I didn't realize we had to do that. And I'm like a blubbering mess after hearing him give this speech. We got through it. It was good. All right, friends. Well, I have got to run and take our 15-year-old into an interview. They're just growing up so fast. But I will be back here again really soon. Thank you so much for watching. Great to have you with us. I will see you soon. Sunshine and raindrops.